I'd like to call our regular meeting of November 11th, 2013 to order. I'd like to make an amendment to the agenda also. I guess we'll do the roll call first, and then when we get to the approval agenda, I'll amend it.
Okay, Mr. Kudrick?
Present.
Ms. Bowles?
Here.
Ms. Krause absent, excused. Mr. Thede?
Present.
Ms. Funderburk?
Here.
Ms. Beard?
Here.
Ms. Buckley is here.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The change that I'd like to make to the agenda is we have communications and expression from the public after our executive session, and I'd like to move it up to before the executive session. And there'll be no action after our executive session, so.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the agenda with the change of communications and expressions moved from item 10 to item 9 and executive session down to 10.
Support.
Motion made by Ms. Funderburg, supported by Mrs. Buckley. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. The next item on our agenda is personnel actions.
Need a motion?
I need a motion.
Madam
President?
Go
I don't know, I would like to make a motion to separate two items that are on the list here for us to approve from the rest of the personnel actions. That being the assistant principal position and also the layoff of custodial and maintenance.
Okay, we have a motion to pull off the assistant principal and the maintenance custodial department as separate.
I'll support that.
You need a motion to do that, can they just request it?
It needs to be an action to approve the agenda with the changes, right?
So you need a motion with the changes then?
You just need to get the people that did it to just amend it to that, if you agree to that.
They made the motion.
You gotta make a motion with the changes to what they're saying.
Okay, I make the motion to have both the assistant principal assistant position and also the layoffs of the custodial and maintenance along with additional changes. Is that what we need?
Yeah, I usually just read the motion and then remove items, the layoff of that, and
So
then,
yeah, you have to have the motion on the
Right.
floor.
First page.
The motion needs to be on the
Right
floor
here,
first,
Right here,
and
and
then you
then
can,
take them to what you're
Okay.
talking about.
yeah.
So move that the Board of Education accept the following personnel action as submitted by Rebecca Peck, Director of Human Resources, with the separation of
there you go.
the assistant principal position and also the layoff of the custodial and maintenance position to be separately voted on. Is that correct?
Yep.
Thank you.
The motion, you need a support.
Yeah,
That
you
was
still
some-
support?
I'll support it.
A motion made by Mrs. Bowles and supported by Mr. Kudrick to accept the personnel actions with the exception of the assistant principal to be pulled separately and the maintenance custodial department layoff separately.
Madam Chair,
Yes?
since we're doing that, do you want to go through and read the ones that are approved?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Would you like me to go through and do it?
Please.
Okay. It would be employ a para, a bus driver to employ, layoff, is that the one that we removed?
Right.
Okay. Recalls, safety monitor, 2 safety monitors and a mechanic. Resignation, cafeteria at Barth, principal at Romulus High School. retirements, Director of Maintenance and Operations, 2 bus drivers, 1 secretary, and 1 payroll coordinator.
Okay, we have a motion by Mrs. Bowles, supported by Mr. Kudrick. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 6-0. Okay, now we have we'll go directly to the first one that was pulled off.
What's the AP position?
Which would be the assistant principal position. Do I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that the Board of Education accept the following personnel actions for the employment of assistant principal at Romulus High School.
Support.
Discussion.
Motion made by Mrs. Buckley, supported by Mrs. Funderburg. Discussion, Mr. Kudrick.
Okay, this position was on the DEP, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how is this position going to be funded if we're going to put it back in play? Where's the money coming from for the position?
When you say it was on the DEP, what do you mean?
It was on the DEP for elimination, correct?
I got that document.
The assistant principal at the high school, one position was on the debt elimination plan for elimination when it was first approved, correct?
No, my understanding. The last one that I checked, it was on there, so you're saying that
No, I'm asking, it was on there, is what I'm saying. It was,
not to take out.
it was on there to eliminate prior, wasn't it? When we sent it up to the state, wasn't that position on the DEP that we sent up to the state?
Not the very last, in the very last one.
I don't think that we were able to take that position off, given everything that we were kind of, all the numbers that we were working through in the 9th hour. That position was an interim position, so I don't know, I don't think it ever was taken off of the numbers for the deficit elimination plan. We are going through the process of updating that right now.
Okay, I'm kind of confused with the answer, okay?
So let me see if
Go
I can
ahead.
clarify, Tom. I think are you saying that before you had a chance to after we made the decision, before you resubmitted it, you hadn't taken it off yet before it went back to the state?
That is correct.
So it's
Because
still currently
It's still
on there?
currently in there.
Okay,
But
that's
it was
what-
our understanding that it was the wish of the board afterwards, or that we would be eliminating that, but then we reconsidered our configuration.
After we lost.
Because they were still waiting for
Okay, that's
the
what I'm,
answer from the state, so they hadn't
right,
redid it yet.
Right.
okay. Okay, and
Is that
how-
correct? That seemed like the way I got it.
I just want to make
Okay.
sure I was right, that's, okay, we got the answer, okay. How is it going to be funded? Where is the money for this position going to come from, and where are we going to find that much savings throughout the district for that position now?
The position, as I had stated, was in the deficit, that was not eliminated in the deficit elimination plan. It was in the deficit elimination plan that was submitted to the state. It had not been removed from that budget,
Because it was interim.
because we were still, by the time we got to that point where you wanted us to remove it from the budget, we couldn't make it happen in the numbers. We had to get the deficit elimination plan submitted to the state. Because we had an interim position in there, we continued to fund that position. So when you ask the question, where are we going to get the money was already general fund
Already
allocated for the position. Now, afterwards, we said, okay, we're taking that position out. It was the pleasure of the board. But we haven't resubmitted our deficit elimination plan to the state because we've been going back and forth with them through emails. And as I know Dr. Daniels updated you on, we are redoing the entire deficit elimination plan with the changes that we've gone back and forth with the state on, and we will be submitting that to the state on the 19th.
So going back to the DEP, we're still in that second
Yeah.
wave, I take it
We
then, of
are.
a non-approval or non-approval yet?
That's correct. We
So
haven't
we're
been
just still
officially.
answering the questions on number 2.
That's correct,
So we still don't have a second strike, correct?
correct.
But what we have received is based upon the answers that we, provided for them. They were satisfied with those, so the expectation is for the approval. We didn't have to come back with any other additional.
I'm just a little puzzled because on the DEP form that Mr. Dixon sent out with the questionnaires. One of the question 11 says, what support services would be reduced or eliminated? Said, we have eliminated the following positions: 1 plumber, 1 social worker, 3 custodians, 3 bus drivers, 2 building secretaries, 1 high school administrator, 1 elementary administrator, 1 supervisor of grants and curriculum, 1 curriculum secretary.
Didn't we take it out, brought it back, took it back out? Isn't that what happened?
Yep.
So
We took it out, we brought it back, and we took it back out. So which version is that?
that was
This is
925.
822 on mine, which is the same version.
So to clarify, it was allocated for in the deficit elimination plan that we have now, that we're submitting to the state.
Yes, that we are submitting to the state on the 19th, that position is in there.
Okay.
So, real quick, can you
Yeah.
break down the chain again at the high school with Mr. Hurd leaving? Did we replace that position, correct?
That position has an interim in there right now as we develop and look at the available labor pool. Our strategy at this point was to bring back that assistant principal to support the day-to-day operations of the building, as well as post for the permanent position in the early spring when the labor pool starts to develop again. If we post that position right now, the quality of the candidates will be very weak. And I think that would add to some of the concerns I think that the community is experiencing right now as we're moving into the high school without Mr. Hurd.
And how many more students did we bring in from last year? With the dissolving of Inkster schools and just maybe our own enrollments going up, do we know?
We are certifying today with 3,203 students.
How many in the high school?
I don't have that breakdown, I'm sorry, I didn't bring that with me.
But is the number higher than last
The
year?
number is higher than it
Much.
was last
Yeah,
year,
it was
yes.
close to like 900 plus students in the building now, which is lower than that.
And under
It
the
was like
principal,
8,000.
how many assistants do we have to, obviously our interim principal now? So we have 2?
2,
And that is the new one we're talking about right now, too?
that's correct.
And I take it they all have different duties?
They have multiple duties, many of them are shared duties. Some have specific to that assistant principal, but many of them are shared duties across the number of students that we have there.
And that person falls under the RASA contract?
That's, yes,
So it's not one of the ones that we're approving, we approve them all as a group, correct?
it's not an individual contract now.
Okay, I have a motion by Mrs. Buckley, supported by Mrs. Funderburg, to move that the Board of Education accept the employment of Floretta McNeil Marino as assistant principal at Romulus High School for the Romulus Community Schools effective November 1st, 2013.
Roll call vote, please, Madam Chair.
Mrs. Buckley, roll call vote,
Yes.
please.
Can I
Mr.
ask
Cook,
a-
oh,
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
sure, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So it's admin, I mean, you feel we need that position, correct?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, John,
He wasn't here when we had that
Yeah,
yeah, he
discussion.
wasn't, well, one of the things, I went and talked to Mr. Hurd before he left, and one of his major concerns about not having that second administrator was the amount of evaluations that he has to do throughout the whole year for all of those employees. He does them for the teachers, all of the other support staff that are in the building, and having to divide that up. One of his major points was the fact that because that administrative assistant position was eliminated, some of those duties had to also be shifted over to the athletic director. The point of contention is that there's certain certifications that you need to have, and he doesn't have them. So then you're talking about possible REA grievances, because now they're being evaluated for core studies from a person who's just certified in that athletic realm. So it was more or less, that was part of it, but then you also had the, when I went to go see him, it took me 30 minutes to see him because he was now doing disciplinary actions for the kids, and usually that the two assistant principals divvy that up.
Not to
so.
be rude, I can save your time. I had the same conversation
Okay,
with him.
yeah,
I
so-
mean, I the same thing he told me.
Yeah.
So
So it
I was
was,
trying
you
to
know,
break
so
it
I
down.
guess for our public as well, those are some of the things that, you know, it's like, okay, now we're talking about safety issues and evaluation issues. Do we have qualified staff that are doing what they're supposed to be doing as far as, you know, teaching? You know, are they effective in the classroom? And so, I mean, it all just kind of, you know, trickles down, but ultimately it was, do we put this person back or do we try to, you know, swim without them? And for the sake of using a scenario, it's jumping in the deep end without a life jacket, so, and not knowing how to swim.
I mean, I'm concerned about just keeping the kids we have.
Right, and that's a large
That was
part
the
of
other
it.
thing. And when we
And we
made,
lost two key people. We lost the assistant principal as well as the principal.
Right.
That's two key people.
And the assistant principal's already started.
yes.
Will you please do a roll call vote,
Yes,
Mrs.
Miss,
Buckley?
you all set? John?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay,
Sorry.
Mr. Kudick,
No.
Ms. Bowles,
No.
Mr. Thie,
Yes.
Ms. Buckley votes yes. Ms. Funderburg,
Yes.
Ms. Beard,
Yes.
It's on the
Motion
DEP.
passes 4-2.
And we do have our new assistant principal here with us tonight.
welcome.
And so we'd like to welcome Mrs. Moreno, so we're going to have a stand up there. And just a little bit of background, and I'm just going to say this, and then we'd like for you to share anything you would like. But you see she's got her maroon on, and her smile picks up the maroon and white, so she's got it all. But she's an Eagle. She's a graduate of Romulus High School. She's a former employee, and she's got a child who's in Romulus Community Schools, who was here before she got here. So, you know, we'd like to welcome you, and we know that you're going to be a great addition, but you're coming home. You know, it's like Mr. Hurd went home, she's coming home. So,
Thank you.
I just want to thank you for the opportunity, and I definitely will do the job as needed to be done.
Excuse me, Mrs. Can you just grab the mic there?
Yeah, it's the
It's for our
top button.
video recorder so they can pick it up.
Hello.
Nope,
Top button.
there we go.
here it is.
I just wanted to say thank you so very much for this opportunity. I am very, very happy to be here. This is my dream job. I've actually been watching long before this opportunity opened up. So I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity. Please know that I have a vested interest in this district being successful, and I will use all of the knowledge and energy that I have in order to keep it moving forward in a very positive manner. And I thank you, and I look forward to working with you all. And once again, thanks so very much.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Okay, the next item that was pulled off was personnel recommendations of Local 64 layoffs. Could I have a motion, please?
Madam Chair, I move that the Board of Education accept the following personnel actions as submitted by Rebecca Peck, Director of Human Resources, for layoff of maintenance custodial department, all personnel.
Discussion?
Support.
Motion made by Mrs. Funderburg, supported by Mrs. Buckley. Discussion, Mrs. Bowles?
Yeah, I just wanted to, for the public, just to let it be known that, after doing some research, I was told that this was, something, that I guess is part of just the process that has to take place, in regards to the, September 25th, 2013 agenda that we had, whereby we discussed on that agenda the privatization of custodial and maintenance. And since I have stated many times before that I am not in favor of privatization, I just wanted to make sure I had that pulled off so I could vote accordingly.
Okay, so
Do we have any numbers on, obviously Burr's already going right now, on how many employees went?
There were,
Go ahead.
there were 12 individuals from the custodial and maintenance group that applied for and took an interview with that position, with DM Burr. Of those 12, 6 were hired full-time. So they had about a 50% fill rate from internal applicants.
So they're already working right now?
They are.
And I know there's a couple questions that Mr. Kudrick had, and I had some too. Are those going to be answered about Burr? Have you got any answers on yours?
I haven't got any answer. I haven't
were
had,
the questions?
Dr. Daniels has been in the hospital there. She was out of the office there a little bit, so she didn't get the one question. In negotiations, we can bring that one up.
All right.
But I just got a couple questions on it too that maybe you folks can answer. We laid these people off, told them their jobs were they're no longer needed in the district because of financial status, but why are we hitting this unit up for more insurance payments and they're not even in there? It's not their fault that they had to leave. So why are we charging them more for insurance after they've already left? There's people in this unit, maintenance and operation, that are telling me that they're getting $50 and $60 bills. They're saying they got to pay for insurance because they haven't contributed enough.
I'm not sure what those concerns were. We do have an employee contribution due to
But
PA.
if the employees are gone because we said their job's gone, why should we hold them obligated? It's not their fault. They were planning on working the whole year.
I guess I'm not understanding the question, Mr.
Why are
Kudrick.
we charging our employees that no longer work in the district for insurance? I mean, past the date of when they were gone, released. It's not their fault that they left. It's not like they resigned. It's not like we fired them. Okay, these people were outsourced. We voted to eliminate their positions, but yet we're charging them more for insurance?
I guess I'm going to have to find out what those issues are and then respond to those specifically, because if an employee chooses not to elect to take the COBRA, then there is no additional insurance obligation.
COBRA's what, $1,000 a person?
It depends on the insurance.
And they have no job and they're gonna pay $1,000. They have no insurance after October 31st, and then you're charging them $60-some more.
I guess I'm going to need the specifics on that situation, because an employee that no longer works for us, we don't charge them employee contributions for insurance. They're no longer
I
on
wanna
our
check with payroll,
insurance.
because there's quite a few of them that have told me that.
Okay.
Along with their vacation and sick days, they wanna know when they're gonna be paid for them too. So
And
you
plus,
should be hearing that.
the
They
two
haven't been-
stipends, correct?
Huh?
The two stipends also, did they, the $13,000, did they get that upon employment? That's their annual date?
That's at their hire date, and that's spread out over 12 months
Okay.
through the DM Burr Company.
But that's different than what Tom was
Right.
talking
Right,
about, right?
that's
Oh,
two
I
different
mean-
issues.
Okay, yeah, because I was gonna say, I was starting to
Well, maybe you
confuse
can
me.
get the specifics from
Right.
them and figure it out,
Find
so
out what
then
it
let us
is.
know what the answer.
Yeah, I need the specifics on it, Mr. Kudrick, because
Okay.
as far as I know, we don't charge if an employee is no longer
Might
with us.
wanna check with the payroll department, because that's where people are saying they're getting the information from.
Okay. Do you have, and we can talk about this offline, do you have specific employees?
Yeah, there's 3 of them I can
Okay.
give you.
All right, we can talk offline about that, and then I'll follow up with you.
And so basically, the motions here, those people are either already working for Burr or chose layoff or retirement?
Correct.
Okay. So it's not no new people, it's already been done, they're already working?
It's already been done. This is the official record that
Gotcha.
the board is taking action on laying off these employees.
Understandable.
The reason that there isn't, 22 is because many of them took retirements. Mhm.
Okay, so we have a motion by Mrs. Funderburk, supported by Mrs. Buckley. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
And I have to abstain, conflict of interest
So we
with that
have
department.
4 yes, 1 abstain, and 1 no.
Yep, got it.
Motion passes by 4.
Okay, just a brief update, and I kind of shared it. We did hear back from the Department of Education. the questions that they had, regarding what we had included, and we've been kind of going back and forth, providing the answers. They were satisfied with the answers. So the final instructions that we received were to make sure that we just had it all in the update, and sent a revision in, and they will approve it. So the unofficial is it's approved, but we do not yet have our approval letter. But the expectation is as soon as we get it submitted, which must be completed next week, we will be good to go on that. So
Now, are we gonna update that with the people who retired and things like that? Because those numbers would come off too, wouldn't it not?
We're going through the
Into-
entire DAP, and that we are pulling everything out, all of the changes that we went back and forth with the state on, the changes that they wanted to see in it, the modification that we're making as a result of our year-end budget. The audit came in, so we're able to now use those real numbers as opposed to projected numbers. All of those things will be in the DAP that comes before you next week, along with the amended budget.
And just as a point of information, the DEP is a working document. I mean, this is something that's going to be updated and changed monthly and a
Every
monthly
30
report is done then.
30 day, every 30, once the DEP is formally approved by the state, then we will be reporting every 30 days. And that's why it's important to us to make sure that the numbers that they get, the DEP that they approve, because it's all based on function codes, and how you're spending their money, they're gonna be monitoring that very closely. And that's the 30-day report that we need to submit to them each month.
To schedule the meeting to approve it.
Yeah, we will need to, and if,
For the 18th.
we need to have it next Monday.
Okay, so that's, okay, they're looking for a date. They need us to schedule a date for us to
For the-
approve
The 18th,
the DEP and the budget before the 19th.
That's when we
So
have to
that's-
submit it?
It has to be
it has to be submitted
yes.
on the 19th. And the 18th would be that Monday, which is next Monday. So we'd like to schedule
Put us
one.
under the gun.
How long is that meeting gonna last, and what time are we gonna start?
It shouldn't last more than 15 minutes. if
That's
that.
the only, those will be the
Start
only
at
items
5
on the
o'clock?
agenda.
On what day?
5 o'clock's good
The
for me.
18th.
The 18th.
Okay.
Does 5 o'clock work for everyone?
That's for me.
Is 5 o'clock good?
Tamika, is that all right with you?
Tamika?
Okay.
I gotta be at my second job.
Alrighty. You have included in your packets the audit report. We will be having a presentation, so this is for you to have an opportunity to go through and review it. And on the 25th, our audit firm will be out, and they will be providing a presentation. And so what you have included is really just the approval that you have received a report.
So they're coming out on November 25th to do the
Yes.
presentation? Okay.
So,
Madam Chair, I move that the Board of Education acknowledge the receipt of the 2012-2013 audit.
Support.
okay, I have a motion made by Mrs. Buckley, supported by Mr. Kudrick to accept the audit report or receipt of the audit report with a presentation to be had on the 25th. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the superintendent evaluation update. We need to decide which tool we want to use. I know I had a note down, I guess, Tom, you were gonna find out from MASB about the class.
They haven't given me any calls back on dates, possible dates in December yet.
Okay.
I called up there and actually left a message and sent an email up there.
Okay, so we're waiting for dates available.
Do we need a study session to discuss the instrument?
We do.
Would that be an executive session with us and Dr. Daniels, if she requests that?
I think we can only have the executive session when we actually go through the actual
Right.
evaluation itself. Just to discuss the tool, we have to do an open session.
That's fine. We need to do a study session though. So we're on one page because we don't have the working document solid yet.
The other thing too is, because we've only had her officially employed for, what, about 4 months now? I think that this needs to be abbreviated for the purposes of this year, and then going to, so we kind of almost need to do probably 2 versions just for this year so that we can have an evaluation for her this year, but then have our official document for, from here on out.
You know, and just as some input, I'd like to recommend that we make sure that we include those pieces that are required by law. For the most part, those have to do with the academic program and, you know, evaluation of staff. Those are categories G through K. And they start, if you have yours with you, it's the ones that start on page 12. So those would be some that, you know, we want to make sure that we have included.
It'd be pages 12 through 15. And it would be in the document that I gave you guys last week, the superintendent evaluation form that MASB was using.
Yeah, we just need to look at it. So, Madam Chair, we really need to review this before we come to that study session. So if we got any ideas or questions or
So on the
whatever.
18th, would everybody be ready to look at some dates so we could schedule that study, get a study session scheduled? Or do people want to set a date now?
I don't have my information to set a date now. I don't have my
Yeah.
calendar with me.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so then on Monday, then we'll sit down and figure out a date to go over the tool itself.
Yeah, and we just need to send Sandy
And I'll send Mrs. Kraut an email too and let her know that that's what we're going to do for the 18th, and that we need to set another date for the evaluation update.
So in the study session, is it just gonna be us?
Yeah, I mean, it's open to the
It's open
public,
to
so
the
if they
public.
wanna come, they can,
Right.
they're invited too, but yeah.
Okay.
Okay, the next item on the agenda is communications and expressions from the public. I have one in front of me. Are there any more sheets before I? Okay, Mrs. Garrison? I'm not sure if it's on. Okay. there.
Hi, my name's Tammy Garrison. I reside at 29060 River Oak in Romulus. And I just wanted to say thank you very much for the assistant principal. And I believe that it'll be very helpful in retaining and recruiting students at the high school, because I had a lot of concerns expressed to me that there would be issues with security and discipline at the school. And I'd also like to know, what is the current situation with safety monitors at the school? How many do we have? Will we be getting more? Are their hours still the same? Because a lot of times after school, the kids are there, but I don't see anyone.
Is there anybody who can address that?
So we have 7 safety monitors scheduled at Romulus High School, and their schedule kind of fans the entire school day, and I believe, and Ms. Poirier is here, do they go up to 6 o'clock or 4 o'clock? 4 o'clock. We have one safety monitor at the middle school who is just there during the school day, a little bit before and a little bit after. 4 o'clock is that when our last safety monitor leaves for the day? Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's the last comment I have, so I need to get a motion to go into, we're going to be going into executive session There will be no action taken tonight after the executive session.
Madam Chair, I make a motion, we go into the executive session for negotiation update.
Support.
Motion made by Mr. Kudrick, supported by Mrs. Funderburg.
Mr. Kudrick,
Yes.
Ms. Bowles,
Yes.
Mr. Theed,
Yes.
Ms. Funderburg,
Yes.
Beard,
Yes,
Ms. Buckley votes yes.
6:36.
6:36, adjournment to executive session. Could I have a motion to come back into session, please?
Madam Chair, I make a motion, we return from executive session.
Support.
Motion made by Mr. Kudrick, supported by Mr. Theed.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Kudrick,
Yes.
Ms. Bowles.
Yes.
Mr. Theed,
Yes. Yes.
Ms. Funderburg,
Yes.
Ms. Beard,
Yes.
Ms. Buckley votes yes.
7:18.
Okay, 6-0. Can I have a motion for adjournment, please?
So moved.
Support.
Motion made by Mrs. Funderburg, supported by Mr. Theed. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Meeting is adjourned.
John, you gotta sign that.